There we go.
Hello, and welcome to the Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we always come here first to quench your reality thirst, and where we put the real and the tea in reality. Per, I am Lana, your resident diva, here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea. Per, and if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I am just going to be drinking Sunkiss today because, you know, why not? It's been that kind of day and I'm thirsty. But if I was drinking something in the cup,
I mean, aren't we all thirsty in our own way?
yeah,
And
if
and
we
I,
if I
oh,
if I was don't step on it now, don't step over me now.
mm,
If I was drinking something out of a cup, it would be the cup, the best cup where you can have your tea always, and you can get it in the link below, uh lanagcreations.etsy.com, where you can get your cup merch and all other merch and items to your heart content. So check it out. Now,
as someone that owns a high quality mug, high quality cup.
her.
And of course, it is I, Brooke, the queer college graduate who plays way too much Smash Bros. Uh, for the past week, I have been playing Ori and the Blind Forest on my Switch. Just finished it today. Gotta get to Will of the Wisps next, but gotta go through my backlog of nice indie games. Uh, and normally I'm repping it for the Axiom Nation, but because this is a main roster show, I'm repping it for the band who deserves all of our love all the time. So Homo sapiens rise up. And this was just such a fun show. I'm really excited to get to talk about it. Not to mention just Backlash in general. This is probably the biggest surprise we have had as a pay-per-view, like quality wise,
Mm-hmm.
in a long time. Like we expect a lot out of WrestleMania and a lot of like the Rumble, but Backlash specifically is always just kind of a downer. Not this
Mm-hmm.
year, so I'm really
No.
excited to talk about it.
Yeah, this year was great. It had everything to do with the crowd, I feel. It had everything to
Mhm.
do with Puerto Rico. They had a great show and they showed out and showed up for this show, and it was amazing. The energy was unmatched. Unmatched.
If I'm gonna compare it to anything, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Clash of the Castle, where
Mm,
not only did they have it in this location, but they made you feel like you were there.
yeah.
Clash of the Castle was very like unashamedly London,
Hmm.
unashamedly England.
Hmm.
And I feel like Backlash this particular year was unashamedly Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Like you could feel it in the crowd, you could feel it in the Bad Bunny Damian Priest match, which we'll talk about it. Zelina Vega, Rhea Ripley had a lot of like
Hmm.
that particular heritage in it. And I not a bad thing at all.
Hmm.
Definitely made the show better, I think,
Hmm.
because it's one thing to like pull a Saudi Arabia and have a show in wherever.
Hmm.
Um, but particularly here, because this is the first pay-per-view they've had in Puerto Rico since 2005, I think. And it was New Year's Revolution, which not a not a name people remember. Um, but they probably should. But this is just it was a really solid pay-per-view with a really into it crowd. WWE keeps sending Backlash to Puerto Rico every year.
Yeah,
I
for
don't care. Do it,
sure.
please.
For sure. I think Puerto Rico deserves a pay per view every year, like everywhere else. It was just so good. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to jump right in and get to talking about it. And this slides, it should be in order of the matches that
Hopefully.
started. So, yes, to
There we
start
go.
us off, to kick us off, was Io Sky versus the champion, Bianca Belair. And I will have to say, the start match was a good start to the show.
Not only that, I honestly think this match with Io was better than her match with Asuka at Mania. And
I
I
agree.
nothing, no shade to Asuka. She is one of my faves.
Love
No,
her.
no, any of that. I just think one, this match had more time, and two, they just have more chemistry.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all that matters. Um, but not to mention Bianca and Io have been doing this for God knows how long together. They were
Yes.
in NXT together. They had some really good matches down there. Both of them were heels in NXT too. So like you had there's a lot of history here. Not as much Bianca Asuka, but these two just tore the house down, and that crowd this entire match.
It was so like usually everybody's like Bianca, Bianca. Folks was very EO Sky in this match, and I
Me
was
too.
happy for it. I was here for it because I'm like, sometimes we need to switch it up a little bit. And
Mhm.
EO deserves that. She is so dang talented. Not taking anything away from Bianca Belair because she's the champ. We know how talented she is. We know
Longest
how great,
reigning.
huh?
Longest reigning now too.
Exactly. We know how amazing she is. So to have it, to switch it up where it, I think that also challenges Bianca because she's so used to now being the favorite to having to, now you have to play the role of, oh, I'm not the favorite. People are heavily rooting against me. It was just so good to see. I enjoyed this match from beginning to end. Even though I hate the way it ended, I would have rather a clean ending. But
True.
you know,
It was giving one night stand with Rob Van Dam and John Cena in that way.
mm,
Maybe
yeah,
not to the full degree because Rob Van Dam was definitely a face at that time too. But like, I don't think I have ever seen a crowd this much against someone that a crowd is normally big fans of. Um, but Bianca played her role very well. She didn't just go heel in this match for no reason. And Io
right.
didn't play babyface. It was mostly just the two of them working a really solid match.
Hmm.
And then the last 2 minutes, Damage Control decided to come out and, do what they want to do. And that was fine, I guess. Um, SmackDown this past week, we saw like further downhill slope for Damage Control because Bayley cost them a match against the women's tag champs, Raquel and Liv, for the tag titles. Um, so maybe Damage Control is going to be breaking up soon. If so, cool. Let Io have a really good face run. Bayley can just be a heel. The two of them can have a great feud into SummerSlam.
Hmm.
But I wish these two would have gotten to end this match on a conclusion that felt satisfying.
Yeah.
Um, because this match, outside of that, I would give it 5 stars. I honestly think this match was incredible.
It was yeah, I agree. It was a great match. I just wanted it to end better, but other than that, it was solid. A very solid match. I would. It's a rewatchable match. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Mhm.
that's how I rate better. If I can go back and rewatch it, it was worth the time. I could go back and rewatch this match. So
Absolutely.
it was good. Do look, since you were with Wes, do you have any
Oh, Wes loved this match as well. Wes is currently a little bit busy today. He's on that
mhm.
Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom loop at the moment, which can't blame him. But yeah, he really enjoyed this match. It was his finals week this past week, so he's been very busy. He's
Mhm.
doing his thing. He also really liked this match quite a bit. He definitely was Team EO as well. I think we're getting to that point now where like once a title reign gets so long, as much as I love Bianca, it does help to move the belt elsewhere. Which based off of SmackDown last night, because we're recording this on May the 13th, Saturday. Looks like we're getting Bianca Io at Night of Champions, not Io, Bianca Asuka at Night of Champions. If that's the case, great. Give them another extra 10 minutes and I'll be happy.
Right.
Um, Asuka could win there. Asuka turned heel on SmackDown last night, so if they want to get a heel champion on SmackDown with the Raw Women's title, which God, they need to change the name of this belts.
Right.
Um,
Why don't they just let Bianca and Rhea just swap the belts? Just let them so it could be on the same show. Like it really is
well,
not that hard.
the last time they did that, people weren't happy, but also it was Becky and Charlotte. I don't think people really liked either one of them that much. Well, people liked Becky, but nobody wanted Charlotte to have the belt at the time.
Right.
Um,
I mean, it is what it is. Nobody hates Rhea. Nobody hates Bianca. Let
mhm.
them just say, okay, we on the different shows now. Here's your belt. Here's your belt. Go rep
Mhm.
your show. Like,
Either that or do what the rumor is and change the name of the belts so they don't have to be brand locked. that's fine
Mm.
too. Just do
Mhm.
something, because right now the Raw Women's title being on SmackDown and vice versa is a little annoying and a little irritating
Yeah.
and kind of hard to follow if you're a casual fan. But yeah, this match was great. Everybody loved it. I don't know anybody who's had anything negative to say about it outside of the finish.
Exactly. Well, let's move along because it's time for some Homo sapiens to stand up, rise
Homo
up.
sapiens,
Homo
rise up.
sapiens, rise up.
Get to that 7-foot level. You can do it. Get your knees done.
Oh, Seth freaking Rollins versus Amos. Amos.
I
I
okay.
I like
Oh,
this match. I'm not
I
even
have
gonna.
mixed feelings about this match.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the predictions video, I said this was literally going to be Seth Rollins is going to be fighting for the World Heavyweight title at Night of Champions.
Yep.
He needs a big win to give him momentum.
Yep.
This is exactly what it was.
Yep.
I don't mind it though. I do resent the predictability, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
The irritating thing to me though is we now know that AJ Styles is going to be in the other slot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and they didn't give Styles anything similar to that. They didn't give him a match on this card at all.
Right.
They could have even done like the OC. They could have done like him, Mia Yim, and either Carl Anderson or Luke Gallows versus the Viking Raiders, because they had like a mini feud on SmackDown before the draft. Could have even been like a pre-show match. Just keep him in the mind. But Seth was great. Omos did his best. This is probably the best match we've seen Omos have in a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good. It was solid.
I enjoyed the match. I wasn't very upset with it. I knew like we said, we knew what was gonna happen. It was very predictable, but it wasn't a horrible match. Usually, when Omos is fighting, you're like, okay. But no, this was okay, and I really believe that when you have somebody in a good ring general in the ring with you, like Seth Rollins is,
Mm-hmm.
who can make a match better than what you expect it to be.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think they did their thing. It was a good match. It was obviously a stepping stone and a platform for Seth Rollins to get the momentum so he can become the champion at Night of Champions, because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Now coming into Night of Champions, we'll talk about it more later. But Seth did win the triple threat, and then the singles match against Finn Balor on Raw this past week. So he is in the World Heavyweight title match at Backlash, not Backlash, at Night of Champions. We'll talk about the other half of that later. But personally, I'm excited for that match. I'm very excited for that match. And I don't think him winning here and then going into that really dampens anything for me. It just makes it feel a little less unpredictable, but it's okay. It was a good match.
It was a good match. I enjoyed this match.
Oh, also, the top rope stomp that he did at the end.
Okay.
Okay, like
Okay.
from an effect standpoint, it looked really sick.
Yeah.
I don't know how much damage it would actually do comparatively, but it looked really sick.
It looked really good, right?
Yeah.
And that's really all we need, is just to make it look good. And they made it look sick. I was like, woo, impressive. Impressive. Okay. Moving right along. We have Bobby Lashley, Bronson, and Austin Theory. Can I just say, I want to start off by saying predictions. When you have a prediction show and you predict exactly how the match is going to go, snaps and props to us.
We nailed it.
Props to us, because we predicted this match exactly how it was gonna go.
Not only that, we called out the finish verbatim.
Verbatim.
It was literally, I don't remember if it was me or Wes, but someone said Bobby Lashley is going to hit Bronson Reed with either the Spear of the Dominator, and then Theory's going to come in, throw him out, and pin Bronson Reed. And guess what happened? Lashley hit Bronson Reed with the Spear. Theory came in, threw Lashley out of the ring, and then Bronson Reed.
I mean, I was watching that match, and I literally had to jump into our group chat and was like, did we call this or did we not call this? Like, this was exactly how we said it was going to happen. None of us was like, we all knew it was like, Bobby Lashley's not taking the pin. He's not going to take the pin. It's going to be Bronson Reed, and Austin Theory is going to capitalize on the move that Bobby Lashley does. It was just, it was like we were writing the script ourselves.
And knowing where they went with it this past week, because spoiler alert, if you haven't watched SmackDown, sorry, kind of already told you he's going to the Night of Champions stuff, but Bobby, Austin Theory, and I cannot remember who the third person in that triple threat was. Sorry, whoever you were. It was a great match. Let me check real quick. I have the pay-per-view pulled up right now. Sheamus. Three of them were in the triple threat. Guess what happened on SmackDown? The exact same finish, only this time Theory threw Lashley threw Theory out of the ring and then Sheamus. So I mean, I said it backwards. Lashley threw Sheamus out of the ring and pinned Theory. And I don't think that hurts Theory at all, but it does make me worried about where they're gonna take this title reign. Theory's been US champ for 6 months. Which is great reign for him. Where do you go from here is my real question. He doesn't really have any feuds going on at the moment. Night of Champions is coming up in like 2 weeks. So ideally he'll have an opponent for that show that's like a decent caliber. Personally, I would say Sheamus would be lit. But if you don't have a match already set up for him, who are you going to put him against at Night of Champions? Who would you put him against, Lana?
I don't know. Honestly, I honestly don't know. He's on SmackDown, right?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, because I really don't want to see him and Bobby Lashley fight anymore. Like, no, I don't want to see them fight anymore. I'm over it. Honestly, he can still fight Bronson Reed. If I can see, I wouldn't mind a feud with him and Bronson Reed, because
if only Bronson Reed was on SmackDown.
Right. He's on Raw. So yeah, there's that. I don't know. I don't know where they can take this man. Sheamus will be a great choice, honestly, too.
I could see like Santos Escobar being a good pick here too. I think they're both really great. If you really want to mix the fans up, have LA Knight fight Austin Theory at Night of Champions. I would love that. But Theory needs some new opponents. Other than Cena, his opponent pool has been kind of stale for the last little bit. So get him somebody new up in there to give us a new match at Night of Champions, please.
I mean, I just want to see him fight Mustafa Ali, and Mustafa wins.
Please. Positive Ali.
I need Positive Ali to win this belt. Honestly, I just need him to.
I need Ali on SmackDown. I need him on SmackDown.
I know this free agent thing is bothering me too,
dude. Oh my god, we'll talk about the free agent stuff in a minute because we need to talk about Baron Corbin. But we'll talk about that when we talk about that. But yeah, good match. It was kind of short. It wasn't very long, but it kind of didn't need to be very long.
No, it was fine the way it was, and I'm just glad we were in the writer's room to write this match. Period. Because we literally was.
We nailed it.
Next match, Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega. I mean, this match was going to be great because the crowd was going to make it great.
Before we get too deep into it, we do have to give Wesley his flowers a little bit here because in the predictions video, Wesley said this match wouldn't go over 7 minutes. We both said no, we wanted it to go longer, and I wish it would have went longer. It went 7 minutes and 10 seconds. So Wes, seconds.
It went over 7 minutes.
He
said it wasn't going to go over 7 minutes. It went over 7 minutes. So
barely.
I will give him half of flowers, but I will give him most of the flowers, but I'm keeping one for myself
For sure.
because one for me, one for you, because we said it was going to go over 7 minutes, and it
Hmm.
did technically go over
Technically.
7 minutes. But
Um,
yeah,
yeah, but I don't think I have ever seen a bigger baby face in my life than Zelina Vega in Puerto Rico. Um, she comes out with the flag. The crowd was, again, we're talking about the crowd all night. The crowd was on fire this whole match, even if it was short. Um, if you don't, and something that people have mentioned for a long time is that for a long time, they've been trying to capture the Rey Mysterio magic that they had with the Latin market with Rey, Eddie too, but specifically Rey because he's been around forever. Um, I honestly think Zelina Vega could be that person if they give her the means to go there. Um, from what we saw at Backlash, they were really into her, really here for her, wanting her to succeed. I wanted her to succeed. Uh, Even though every little part of my analytical wrestling brain was like, no, Rhea just won the belt. Zelina can't beat her. I still wanted it to happen. And that doesn't happen
hmm
to me very often. I don't usually get that invested in somebody, especially in a feud that really didn't have much of a build.
right.
Um, but damn it, Zelina Vega made me want her to win, and I'm bummed she didn't. I'm even more bummed that she's probably not even in the title picture anymore, which sucks, but it is what it is.
Selena Vega, I'm going to crown her best ring gear of the night.
Mm-hmm.
She looked spectacular. I was like, oh my gosh. And then when she came out, and first, before she even opened her arms, I was like, oh, her ring gear is amazing. Then when
Mm-hmm.
she put up and the flag came out, I was like, oh, simply great.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so, I enjoy seeing how emotional she was about this match because we don't get a lot of pay-per-views in Puerto Rico. She was never able to feel the kind of love that she got in Puerto Rico. And that crowd was very much 100% behind her. And Rhea usually gets a lot of fans. Like Rhea has a lot of fans. Everywhere else, I mean, she's in the Judgment Day, and you're like, Judgment Day, but you still like Rhea. So everywhere she goes, this was one time in this since she became champion that the whole entire crowd was Zelina Vega. And the thing is, they actually showed respect because they would give him the mommy chance when Rhea first came out. And it was
Yeah.
like, they do love Rhea,
Mm-hmm.
but
Zelina
we
Vega.
Zelina Vega.
Yeah.
It's just
Um,
like,
and that brings me up to another thing too. For a long time, people have been saying, "Oh, Rhea Ripley's just too popular to be a heel." I don't think that's the case. I think Rhea
no.
Ripley has that like Razor Ramon, early Razor Ramon vibe of like she is super cool, but she's still a bad guy,
Uh-huh.
and that's something that you don't really get very much anymore because most of the time the heels are either stupid, super boring and just like ha ha ha, I'm gonna cheat to make you lose this match, babyface, ha ha ha, or they're just big 7 foot tall men throwing you around ring without taking more than 6 bumps in a match, and that's whatever. But Rhea's actually the heel that just comes in, kicks ass, and leaves, and that's all we need her to be. And she's also just kind of a snide queen, but
Right.
and that's
Period.
all we need her to be. We don't need her to be she doesn't have to be anything more than that. I
hmm
miss the time period before Rhea, when you would have heels just get booked strong. Whatever
Right.
happened to booking a heel strong? Because as much as we talk about like Omos being this like big tall guy, he hasn't won very much lately. He
Right.
lost to Seth. He lost to Brock. I mean, he's won like squash matches on Raw and stuff, but
hmm
didn't win the Royal Rumble. He lost to who did he fight at Mania last year? He lost his Mania match last year to whoever I forget. Um, but like almost hasn't been winning a lot lately, and we're in a situation now where a lot of heels just lose all the time, and it's nice seeing a heel like Rhea just get built well.
Exactly. But
Oh,
this
and
match,
also I will add, she also Zelina Vega also won the Ring Gear of the Night award at the viewing party that I was at, just for the record.
per and then it was just like it was really a good match. Like I think Zelina gave everything she had in that match. They had some good spots. The chancla coming out. I was like, yes, with the chancla. And I thought that
And
was
that was
pretty
it was
cool.
her mom
It
too.
was
Her
her
mom was at
mom's.
ringside, which was super
Yeah,
cool.
that was so cool.
Yeah.
It was just a good match, but we all knew what was going to happen. Rhea was going to Rhea because she just got the belt. It just wasn't gonna happen where Rhea Ripley would lose this belt at the at Backlash. But it would have been nice. I agree with you. I knew, like you said, logically, I knew Rhea was winning this match. But emotionally, I was very much invested in Zelina Vega, and I wanted her to win. I was like, I want her to win this match, even though I know she's not. I want her to win. They totally just sucked me into the wrestling fantasy world of maybe the good person will win, and she's at home in her own crowd, and possibly, but you know.
I don't know if I know you were watching wrestling then, but like Jeff Hardy beating Triple H for the Intercontinental title in 2000, to me it was one of those things of like Zelina could win this match and then they have a rematch on SmackDown on Friday and she drops the belt back. You know,
right.
I wouldn't have been like fully satisfied with that, but I would have been happy for her to get her moment. But also, we are also wrestling fans who are moderately aware, and we all know the rule of you never win in your hometown, and she can't win in her home territory, I guess. But
I mean, there are some objections to the rules, I guess, because Naomi won in Orlando for the first time, and so
Caitlyn, when Caitlyn won the Divas title, she won the Divas title in Houston.
Yes.
And I mean, even Bad Bunny later on this card. But also,
it's exceptions to the rules.
Yeah. But also, you know, again, it's one of those things of just, it would have been nice, but Rhea needed this win, and I'm happy she got it.
Yeah. It was a good match all the way around. Wish it was longer. 7 minutes and 10 seconds. Could have used like 3 more minutes.
Cut 3 minutes off the tag match and give it to them.
I mean, but what else? We move to the first of the double main events of the night. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest. Now, let me start off by saying this. Damian Priest deserves his flowers.
Oh, for sure.
Damian Priest deserves his flowers. Bad Bunny deserves his flowers. Bad Bunny has just now cemented for me how I now feel about Logan Paul. Sure, you don't have to be all the time. You don't have to be there all the time. But when you show up, you show out. And that's what Bad Bunny did in this match. He came, he was prepared, he gave everything. Damian Priest sold everything. He sold it. And off the rip, when Bad Bunny, when his music hit, that was a pop you don't get very often.
True.
That was a pop. Like, I think one of the last times we've gotten a pop like that was when the Hardys came back at WrestleMania. That was the kind of energy that was in that room. It was amazing. I watched the entrance like 3-4 times just to feel that energy.
It was insane.
It was insane. You don't have a whole crowd of people singing your song if you're not Seth Rollins or, you know what I'm saying?
And something that you mentioned a minute ago, like the celebrity appearances, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I like what they are doing right now, which is the celebrities show up, they don't win belts, they don't do anything crazy, they're not around too long, they're here for a feud, and then they leave. Yes, please keep doing that. Please keep doing that, because it's great. because you have people like Logan Paul, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
we do need to bring him up because he is kind of relevant to this
Mm-hmm.
particular conversation,
Mm-hmm.
where he had a title match with Roman. He lost. Good.
Mm-hmm. He's
He's
supposed to.
won some of his feuds. You know, he
Yep.
beat The Miz. He beat the
Mm-hmm.
Mysterios, you know, whatever. He lost to Seth at Mania. Cool. Great. It makes him a believable wrestling character. Awesome. Bad Bunny, you know, he's not lost, but he's also only fought in three matches if
Right.
you count the Royal Rumble. But 2 matches. And both of those times he's shown why we should value him as a commodity if he were to come back. And it's the same
Yes.
thing with Logan Paul. They've both done really well in all their appearances. And
Mm-hmm.
they're not taking up space, which is great.
Exactly.
But I want to touch on not even one of my absolute favorite moment of the entire night.
Okay.
So early on in the show, Bad Bunny is backstage talking to Rey Mysterio. Savio Vega shows up, which we're in Puerto Rico. We're in Puerto Rico, we do. But Savio Vega gives him the wrapped kendo stick. I look, if Wes would back me up if he were here, he's not. I look at the people in my viewing party, and I'm like, I swear, if they have Savio Vega on the show and not Carlito, I will be so bummed. And then, you know, late in the match, you have the Judgment Day coming out, and they get fended off by the LWO, and everything kind of breaks down a little bit, and then the man himself, Carlito, showed up.
I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
I love him so much. Also, this man is jacked. He got swole.
He really needs to come back. Like, he could come back and do another run. I feel like he could do another run.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, for someone like Savio Vega, obviously he's retired. You know, he doesn't need to do anything more than what he did, which is throw a couple punches and the palm strike to Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. Didn't do anything else other than that. Carlito, not only is he still wrestling in Puerto Rico for his dad's company, the name of which is currently eclipsing me, but he's also been wrestling on the indies and all this other stuff, and he looks great. This is the best he's looked in years.
Yeah, he looks great.
And I remember he came back for the Royal Rumble during the pandemic. I think it was 2021 Pandemic Rumble.
Yeah.
And fans were like, "Dude, why is no one signing this man?"
Right.
Literally, WWE, get on this. This is who we want. Because
he looks so good. Like,
mm-hmm.
I was like, dang, Carlito, you kind of fine. Like, I ain't never thought Carlito was fine before. I was just like, oh, Carlito, this man is fine. Mm-hmm. Fine.
Well, the other thing about Carlito, too, is you don't even have to keep him around long term if you don't want to. But you tell me Carlito versus Austin Theory at Night of Champions wouldn't do numbers?
Oh, that would be amazing.
Especially considering Carlito, like, his first big feud was when he debuted. That night he debuted, he won the U.S. title off John Cena. Like, that's what he's done. That the U.S. title is the belt people associate him with. Put him in especially, and you have Austin Theory, who doesn't have an opponent going into Night of Champions. Carlito would go to Saudi Arabia. He would. And not to mention, they did the same thing with Lita a couple years ago. They had Lita versus Becky in Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia. So, like, why not? I'm just saying. He looked great. But back to this match, it was incredible. There was nothing wrong with it. No. Like, nothing.
No. Every spot was well played out, well produced, well executed. Like, it was just a good match from beginning to end. We saw the ups and the downs. We saw Damian taking control. We saw Bad Bunny taking control. It was just back and forth. It was so exciting the entire time. I was just glued to my TV, and like, I watched it in here, and I was like usually laying down watching the match. I was sitting straight up watching this match, like, oh my god, screaming like a crazy person.
For sure.
So good.
The tiniest nitpick. Tiny nitpick.
Geez.
Okay. Bad Bunny comes out with this shopping cart full of weapons. Okay, and I don't mean it was a lot. I mean he literally had them in a shopping cart. In case you have not watched. Okay, rolls it down to the ring. The entire match, people keep going back to the shopping cart to grab weapons and stuff. People are going to the ring too, but Bunny's going to the shopping cart pretty much, right? Tiny nitpick. I really wish somebody would have either gotten thrown into the shopping cart or like pushed the shopping cart into somebody, because personally it felt like Occam's table to me. Not Occam's table, Chekhov's table. Like, it's just there. It's like it was perfectly there. And nobody used it for that. But also, if that is my biggest issue with this match, that should tell you the quality. It was insane.
It was a great match. I was not mad at this match. I was very much screaming and cheering and sitting up, like jumping around on my bed for this match. It was so good. But the outcome with Bad Bunny winning this match, because, like we said, with the help of Savio Vega coming down, Carlito coming down, the LWO coming down, Judgment Day coming down. It was chaos. It was madness. But it was well, like, executed madness. It was so good. Sure. It was very good. I have no bad notes about this match. Like,
one thing I would want to say about Damian Priest, because you mentioned we need to give him his flowers. We really need to give this man his flowers. Damian Priest has been performing at a consistently high level for a long time. We really don't get to see him showcase that as much because, I mean, his moveset's not really flashy. It's not like Finn Balor coming off the top rope with the coup de grace or like, big, powerful Omos kind of moveset, and even that Omos isn't flashy, but you know what I mean? Like the power and height itself is flashy. Damian Priest is much more striking with a little bit of power, and typically that doesn't lend itself to a lot of flash, but we need to acknowledge that this man is really good at what he does. He is an insanely talented hand, and apparently, according to reports after the show, they're now looking at him as a top guy, which, as they should. He was in the world title tournament this past Monday, again, as he should. And he didn't win that match, I believe. No, he didn't even take the pin. Nakamura took the pin. So, like, when you look at what they're doing with him, I think he is on an upward trajectory. I don't think there's anywhere else for him to go. I think he's going up, and they're going to keep viewing him as a good hand, and they should.
They should. He's shown he's just great at what he does, and he's just really sold this match. Like, he was very much, because you have to be somebody got to be a ring general in these matches, especially when they're out of control and chaotic. And I believe with his experience and Bad Bunny being his friend, but his Bad Bunny being Benito to him, like, it's like they're from the same area, they grew up together, they know each other. He had to protect his friend because, even though Bad Bunny has put himself out there, Bad Bunny is still not a wrestler. Bad Bunny is still one of the biggest music stars in the world, and you got to protect that.
For sure.
Bad Bunny couldn't get hurt in this match, and
Damian Priest, and he didn't.
No, because Damian Priest made sure of it.
Absolutely,
that was his job, is to make sure that they look good, but Bad Bunny don't get seriously hurt in this match. And you have props to Damian Priest for that. He sold it. He sold it, and it was amazing. He's a great. I can't wait to see what's coming up the road for him. It has to, like you said, it can't go anywhere but up for him. I just don't see it happening.
Also, this should have been the main event, like the actual main event.
I agree. I agree 100%. This should have closed the show.
Yes.
Period.
You tell me, okay, what could have topped this on this show? Nothing.
Because
not a damn thing.
That follow this were good matches, but they don't compare to this one.
And here's the thing: as someone who enjoys everyone but one person who competed in the next two matches, right?
Right.
I literally do not remember most of the matches because they were after this, and I watched live and I rewatched. This match was really special, And maybe WWE didn't realize what they had on this with this crowd, and like with going to Puerto Rico with Bad Bunny, and even Zelina Vega. But I really wish they would have.
I mean, I don't understand how they don't though, because Bad Bunny is Bad Bunny. He is the top musical artist in the world, in his hometown of Puerto Rico, and in Damien's Priest's hometown of Puerto Rico. Why would they not think this was going to be the biggest pop of the night? Because both of these men are from Puerto Rico.
Exactly. But
it made no sense for this not to be the main event. And they show, and I honestly, I just feel like Bad Bunny and Damian Priest was like, oh, so we ain't the main event? Okay. Let's go out there and show them why they made the biggest mistake of the night by not putting us last. Because who's going to follow us?
Well, I mean, and also the argument I saw online when people were like, oh, but you have Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes on this card fighting each other. That has to be the main event. I'm like, no,
it doesn't.
Did you not watch WrestleMania at all? Because one of the main events was a tag team match. Like, when did the main event have to be the match that had the two biggest names involved? That's not what the main event is, and it's not what it should be. It should be the match that the fans care about the most, that we are the most invested in. Exactly. And even as someone who is not Puerto Rican, I am the whitest bitch you will ever meet, okay? I was so thoroughly into this, and I didn't give two fucks about Cody Brock, not gonna lie. And I feel like that's also the general consensus, is that most people didn't really care outside of the fact that they wanted Cody to win. And I don't think most people cared about, honestly, I don't think most people cared about the Bloodline versus Kevin, Sami, and that. That sucks. But comparatively, both of those matches should have went on before this.
They should have been 100%. Before this. This should have closed the show. And it would have been just amazing. It would have been just as amazing. But it didn't close the show. And so we're going to talk about the next match, which was the Bloodline Solo Jimmy Uso against Kevin, Sami, and Riddle. Good match. Solid match. Interesting match.
I have mixed feelings.
It was interesting.
In terms of the wrestling quality, match is incredible. 10 out of 10. No issues here. All 6 of these guys are super great. No one's going to have any issues with them fighting. Cool.
Right.
But to me, at WrestleMania, right, this feud was the best feud on the card. I don't even think it was close. The Usos versus Kevin and Sami, that felt meaningful.
Yep.
It was so important to us that we wanted Sami Zayn to fight for a world title at WrestleMania. I remember vividly, okay? Yes. As of the pay-per-view, it had been a month-ish since WrestleMania.
Yep.
This feud is dead. I feel nothing anymore, especially considering to me the feud should have ended at WrestleMania. Maybe you could say squeeze out the rematch if you wanted to do the rematch, even though rematch clauses aren't a thing anymore, right? Supposedly. Like, say you wanted to get a rematch on SmackDown at the draft. Cool, great, awesome. This feud needs to stop, okay? Kevin and Sami need to fight other people. There are 90,000 tag teams on the main roster. You have the Street Profits, you have Pretty Deadly, you have tons of other teams that Kevin and Sami can be fighting.
And
exactly.
Maximum Male Model. The OC, you got so many people.
Alpha Academy. Maximum Male Model.
Imperium.
Like, well, to be fair, they did fight Imperium on Raw, right?
Yes, they did.
And they won. They won that match. Cool. But, like, that didn't do anything for this feud. And this feud was still going. And it's still going. I'm so over it. Because Kevin and Sami, the whole point of, to me at least, of Kevin and Sami winning the tag bouts, one was to cap off the Sami Zayn storyline with the Bloodline. Okay? Cool. Awesome. Great story. Probably the best story WWE's told in years. Right?
Right.
But the second thing was so that way we could get fresh matches for the tag titles.
Right.
Because one, this is the first time they've been competed as a tag team, much less as the champs, right? But now you can have matches with teams that fought the Usos and they'll be fresh, you know? Cough, cough on the Street Profits. I mean, heck, New Day, they exist.
They do?
What do you do? Do they? Do they?
You would think.
You would think. Well, I mean, okay. Kofi and Big E are
injured. Kofi was injured, so
sure. But like when Kofi gets healthy or Big E gets healthy, whichever happens 1st, you know, they're there. What's Xavier Woods doing right now? I don't know. But
trying to get into the solo matches and they keep letting them lose, which is ridiculous.
Give me Xavier Woods versus Gunther at not champions and let Xavier Woods win the belt. I don't even care if Gunther doesn't get the record at this point. I just want Xavier Woods to have the IC title. But also, why is Matt Riddle and Solo Sikoa involved in this?
Why are they in this match?
Why? Like, people are like, oh, Solo injured Riddle. Okay, cool.
So let them fight separately.
Yeah, and the Usos don't have to be involved, and Sammy and Kevin don't have to be involved.
Like, I agree 100% with what you're saying right now. Like, I don't understand why this match even had to be this match. Like, it was like this same WrestleMania rematch, but we want to throw in Riddle and Solo just so it's not exactly the same.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't Riddle return on the Raw after WrestleMania and have a fight with The Miz? Did that go anywhere?
No.
I don't think so.
No. It just was a random match. Which, another thing, I'm annoyed with them doing The Miz like that, because why they always got to have The Miz be the one that people want to come back on and win, and he just losing. I'm like,
Miz got pinned.
Like The Miz is some Rudy Poo wrestler when he didn't prove that he is not.
Not Rudy Poo.
It's so annoying. Like, I can't.
But off topic on The Miz though, like Matt Riddle, when he came back, we were really excited. We were curious to see what was going to happen to him. I mean, I like Riddle, but they have devalued him so much in a month. He's taken loss after loss after loss. Not to mention, he's the one that got pinned in this match too. So, like, unless you want to stop feeding him to Solo, because they fed him to Solo, I think 3 or 4 times in the past month. Why should we care about Riddle? I don't care about him anymore. I mean, I like Riddle, but he's kind of directionless at the moment. He doesn't really have anything to do. They're not going to make him feud with Gunther. They're not going to make him like feud with anybody on Raw. So what's he there for? What is he doing? He's on Raw, but we're not going to see it because what does it matter?
It doesn't. None of this matters. None of this matters. They just, I don't know. Something else that was happening throughout this match was the crumbling of the bloodline starting to form in front of us, with Solo having issues with Jay, was about to give him the spike, and Jay was like, you finna hit me, I'm your brother. I think, and since, like I said, we're recording this after SmackDown, I think the reason why Solo and Roman are now going to fight Kevin and Sammy for the tag team champions.
I feel nothing.
I don't like it, but the only way this makes sense to me, the only way this whole thing would make sense to me, is if Roman and Solo win these titles, which I am not thrilled about, by the way. Let me put that out there. But if Roman and Solo win these titles, just to have to fight the Usos for them.
See, but even then, to me, that just feels so empty, you know? It feels empty because, one, does Roman need a third belt?
No.
Does and like,
No.
should Solo be holding any belt that is not the United States Championship?
No.
No. So
No.
like,
He does
to me, it's one of
not.
those like, what I want to happen, right, for this match, right, and I know this is not going to happen, but this is what I want in my soul. Okay, I want Sammy and Kevin to be fighting Roman and Solo. Okay, you can even have Roman and Solo kick their butt. I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Sure.
I want the Usos to come out to try to help, air quotes, and cost Solo and Roman the match.
I would love that. Okay,
Kevin and
sure.
Sammy cannot lose these belts.
I don't
They
think they
cannot
are.
go back to the bloodline. I don't want that. No one wants that. Especially because if these belts go back to the bloodline on the back of Roman Reigns, mind
Right.
you, these belts are just going to go part-time. And we already have 2 world titles taken hostage by the tribal queef himself. So, like, I just, please no. Please, dear God, no.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to give Roman a third belt. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Sammy and Kevin will win. But I do think Jay and Jimmy will cost them the match, cost Roman and Solo the match, which is fine. And then that'll be the total decimation of the bloodline. Um, I can see that happening. I can see that happening,
Mm-hmm.
which is whatever. But this, as far as this match goes, the bloodline wins, but it was some discourse between them. And yeah, great. Ruder got pinned. Sure. Moving along to the last match of the night, which again should not have been the last match of the night
Nope.
because it gave no such thing as last night energy.
Nope.
It was Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes because Cody Brock attacked Cody, so we had to do some kind of fisticuffs fight. Honestly, I didn't care after a while with this match.
I will tell you how I feel, and then we'll see how you feel about it too. Okay. The actual match was good. Like the content of what was going on in this match was fine. Was very good. Outside of the match, I did not care. I do not care. I will not care. Especially now that they're apparently having a rematch in Saudi Arabia, which
I still do not care. I
that
still will not care, and I still won't care.
I mean, we all wanted that, right? I roll.
No,
And to
no,
me, the thing that really
no.
hit home how much I did not like this match and how much I did not care about this match was the ending. But we'll talk about that when we get to that. Rare appearance of blood on WWE programming.
Very rare, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and not only was it blood, he got cut open the hard way. Like,
real bad, real bad,
yeah,
real bad.
blood was everywhere. You know, in retrospect, kind of happy this is the last match. We didn't need to look at that blood on the canvas the whole night.
Yep, true, facts.
But Cody hit 2 crossroads. Brock kicked out. We got the F5. Cody kicked out. Which, to be fair, does not happen often. So there's that. Brock gets Cody in the Kimura lock. Cody shifts his weight in a weird angled pin kind of thing while he's in the Kimura. Pins Brock for 3 seconds. I'm really happy they didn't do that stupid thing where Cody gets the pin, but he taps out right before 3. Like, they've done that enough, and that would be such a shoehorned way to get this match to happen again. Good. Cody wins. Great. Am I happy that Cody won? Yes.
Sure.
Do I think this match needed to exist in the first place?
No.
No.
No, no, not at all. I didn't. This match was just because, first of all, it happened because of, like, out of the random bluest of skies. Like, why the heck is Brock Lesnar attacking Cody Rhodes? We still don't even understand why. We still don't know why.
Michael Cole on commentary in this match said, We don't know why Brock Lesnar attacked Cody Rhodes. We may never know why. And I'm like, yeah, Michael, we probably won't because it was shoehorned and stupid and there was no reason for it to happen.
There was no point of this to happen, and it was just like, well, we want to get Brock on TV more, so yeah, let him do this. It's like, seriously, stop.
I will give Brock this. He has not missed a pay-per-view this year. He has been on every pay-per-view. Which you would have told me that Brock Lesnar 3 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. But no, he's been at the Rumble, he's been at Chamber, he's been at Mania, and now he's been on Backlash. He hasn't missed a show yet. So
And he will be at Night of Champions, so
yeah. Which that's more than we can say about Roman. And he's the champ.
that doesn't make sense to me. We'll talk about that, but that doesn't make sense to me.
Isn't it crazy that we have had Bianca Belair and Brock Lesnar have been on the same amount of pay-per-views this year? Just food for thought. But yeah, I didn't care really about this feud. The match was good. It wasn't anything spectacular. Cody Rhodes did his thing as usual. The Brock Lesnar German suplex count hit 7. Fun fact. I just... And my friend Zach, because I don't know if Wes and I have ever talked about him. We have a friend named Zach who's like the other like big wrestling fan in our group. He's just busy all the time and, doesn't really talk to us about like when we talk about wrestling most of the time. Zach loved this match like a lot, and I didn't get it. And he said it was just really cool. And also, if the casual fan, because Zach's pretty casual, no offense, love you, Zach. If the casual fans who are into Cody and don't like Brock liked this match, great. I did not enjoy it that much, and I feel like the wrestling fan who watches a lot will also not really care for this.
Right. It was just what it was. I mean, I'm very happy because I thought they were gonna let Brock win this match again. I just thought Brock was gonna win because I always think Brock is gonna win because I feel like Brock is holding something over whoever's running the company, and so Brock always wins. But I was happy to see Brock not winning, and it would go to Cody. But I didn't care.
In retrospect, did Brock Lesnar beat Omos to have momentum going into this match with Cody Rhodes? Just like they're doing with Seth. I mean, maybe AJ Styles is going to be the World Champion. I'm just saying. But yeah.
Yep.
Also, such a bad way to end the show with the finish of this, because especially compared to Bad Bunny, Damian Priest, because that was an emphatic I beat you with a move match. Cody basically won with a glorified roll-up here.
Right.
Like, Brock had him, and he stacked him up and pinned him. That does not make Cody look very good.
Right.
It makes him look resourceful, and it makes him look crafty, but it doesn't make him look dominant. It doesn't make him look like a world beater, which is what we need him to look like when he fights Roman again. If he fights Roman again. Because at this point, it's a big old if.
It's a big old if. It's a very big if. We don't know. I don't know. I just feel like they just made a mistake by not putting the Bad Bunny Damian Priest match as the main event of the night. But we can talk about that till the cows come home, and it won't change a thing. So,
all right. So, as we mentioned, Night of Champions is going to be 2 weeks from today. As of filming, it is Saturday, so do with that what you will. May 27th. So far, we only have 3 matches confirmed, but basically 4 are confirmed. We're assuming we're going to get Asuka Bianca. But Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles for the World Heavyweight Championship tournament final. I'm excited for that because I love both of those guys. They're going to put on a great show. And also, they haven't really fought each other much, so this is pretty fresh. We're getting Cody versus Brock for whatever reason. And then Kevin and Sammy versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa for the tag titles. Please, dear God, do not let Roman and Solo win that match. Are you excited for Night of Champions as of now?
As of right now, not really. They have to do some more. I mean, I'm excited about Seth and AJ because I think that's going to be a great match. regardless of what happened, regardless of the outcome, I think it's going to be a great match. Two very entertaining and amazing wrestlers going at it, and like both of them are just super skilled and super talented. So I'm excited about that match. As of right now, though, not really, because they haven't had like the build ups to any matches that I'm more. I don't want this to Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns solo match. I don't even want that. I don't even want it. But if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I need more though. I need them to give us more cards. Who's Rhea going to fight? Who is Gunther going to fight? Is Austin Theory going to fight? Who the tag team champ? Are the women's tag team? Is Liv and Raquel going to fight? I just need to know more. Who's going to do more fighting? I mean, and I want all. I feel like this is not a champions. All the championships need to be fought. Like I need the women's tag team champions. I need Rhea. I need the um the U.S. title. I need the IC title. I want all the titles in Night of Champions. And I'm sorry, Mr. Roman Reigns, if you decide that you want to go for the tag team champions, then you need to suck it up for later on in the night and fight with your Universal champions, because all titles should be fought and should be going at Night of Champions. What the heck are we gonna call it Night of Champions if all the
Yeah.
championships are not going to be up for grabs at some point?
So it's super true. I have thoughts about Night of the Champions. I really don't even want to talk about it that much.
We'll say
personally, this is the first time we've covered a Saudi show on the podcast. Personally, I am not a supporter of the Saudi shows. I am not a fan of the Saudi Arabian government. I have a lot of personal things that really do not need to be talked about on this podcast. Just let it be known that I do not like the Saudi shows, on principle. So knowing that they're going to keep going back, I believe this contract still has 4 or 5 more years on it. It bums me out that not only are we getting Night of Champions instead of Queen and King of the Ring, which is what the show was supposed to be and should have been, I might add. But I don't like Night of Champions as a pay-per-view concept. I never have. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that sometimes you don't need to put titles on the line. And, when you make it Night of Champions, you put yourself into a corner. You either, A, shoehorn in a feud onto this pay-per-view that doesn't need to be there. That could have a good match, sure, but, there's no build to it. Let's say you put Gunther versus, I don't know, Drew McIntyre.
Right.
It'll be great, but, it won't feel anything because you've had no build for it, right? And then, or you don't put a match for a title on the show, and then is it really Night of Champions? Because the whole gimmick of Night of Champions has been 4 years, like you mentioned, every belt's on the line. Roman's not defending these world titles if he stays in this tag match. And, we do have 2 weeks of programming. Things could change, whatever. But I just don't like this pay-per-view concept. I never have. Give me King and Queen of the Ring. Way better. But, we're at a point now where we just kind of have to deal with it. It's already been advertised. They're already throwing it out. So, whatever. But, we will be back here shortly in a couple weeks to give you our predictions for this full card when it comes out. Hopefully, we're going to be seeing some good matches. Especially, hopefully, we're going to have 3 different, distinct, unique women's championship matches in Saudi Arabia. I pray to Lord we get 3 matches for those belts.
They showed up low to silence the women, baby. 1 match.
Yeah. I mean, a couple years ago, we got 2 women's matches on the card. And that was great. And that was amazing. It was insane. And in a good way, right? And my problem with the Saudi Arabia shows has never been the content. I mean, sometimes the Saudi Arabia shows are bad. It's just a bad show. But it just happens to be with how they treat the talent and how some of the talent are put in positions while they are there. we should probably mention that as a SmackDown, this is Sami Zayn's first time he's going over for a Saudi Arabia show.
Yeah.
I am deeply worried for this man's safety. Just gonna say, I don't even know him personally, but like, based off of things that have occurred in the past, Sami Zayn is a Muslim. Sami Zayn is born in Canada, but from Syria nationally. Runs a charity called Sammy for Syria. Like, he's very much a pro-Syria person. Syria, Saudi Arabia, tons of issues there. And they've just now reestablished relations between the two countries. I'm worried. That's all I'm gonna say. And if other people are worried for him, I don't blame you. So WWE, if something happens to this man while you are in this country, dear God, that's all I have to say for you.
I mean, I feel like when you're doing a show like this in Saudi Arabia, where people actually have real problems with or issues with a government, and not like Sami Zayn never wanted to go to Saudi Arabia for reasons that obvious reasons. I don't feel like forcing him to go just to do this match because he's the champion is right. And I feel like if Roman doesn't have to do his championship, why does Sami Zayn have to do his championship?
Well, historically, at least from what we've been told, because again, we're not backstage, we're not present for the meetings. It's just all hearsay and conjecture. Anyone who did not want to go to these Saudi Arabia shows didn't have to. Like Daniel Bryan didn't go to them. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn never went to them. I hope that is still the case, and Sami is choosing to go. If that is not the case, I will be very sad.
Yeah,
just being straight up.
Yeah,
but regardless, it's happening in 2 weeks. Mark your calendars. Night of Champions is on May 27th. It will be at a weird airtime because it is in Saudi Arabia. Make sure you're keeping a lookout for when it's going to air. It's going to be like noonish here, typically.
Here, 11 noon Eastern. Yeah, it's noon Eastern, so 11 Central.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday, so they feel like they could do it on that time, at that time. Sure. We'll probably be back probably the week of Night of Champions to discuss when all the matches and do our recaps and predictions. So be on the lookout. Follow us on the Cup at the Cup Reality _reality on Twitter, so you will be sure to see when we're going to drop the video. Also, if you just don't want to miss it, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share, follow, all of that stuff. Hit the bell.
Punch that notification bell.
Hit the bell. That way you'll be notified as soon as it drops. And we will be dropping it very shortly after we record it. So, things happen, and I will make sure of it personally because I am now in charge of making sure that all of our wrestling content goes out when it's supposed to go out. And so this video here will be dropping tomorrow in the morning. So
awesome. And not to mention, I might try to talk Lana and Wes into shoehorning in a NXT Battleground prediction into that one as well, because Battleground is on the 28th. So, it's going to be a nice weekend for wrestling. Not even to mention the next day, the day of Battleground, AEW Double or Nothing is happening. So it's going to be a very loaded card. So make sure you take some time for yourself that weekend. And also, tomorrow is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the audience. Thank you very much. Or I guess today's Mother's Day as of upload.
Yeah, when we drop this video, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. And so that's it. Brooke, thank you so much. We did it.
Yep. Yes, we did.
Wes was missed. We will let him know how he was definitely missed. But
I will let him know right after.
But our prediction still was spot on.
Pretty spot on, yeah.
Pretty spot on. So let's see if we can go again because we did this for WrestleMania. We were pretty spot on for WrestleMania. We're
Mm-hmm.
pretty spot on for Backlash. We'll see how spot on we are for Night of Champions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I guess
Cheers, everybody.
here's y'all. Don't
Cheers.
forget to get your cup merch.
Get that cup.
Get that cup. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye
Bye.
bye. Bye.